All right, in today's video, I'm gonna be giving you a tour of my office/home studio workspace. Now, there are three functions to this space as it stands now. The first one being a space for me to function in creatively. A space in which I can write songs in, a space in which I can brainstorm different ideas for videos. The second function of this space is for it to serve as a recording environment. Something where it's treated sonically, there's acoustic treating around the room, something that I can record in and it sounds decent. Something in which I can easily reach, grab a guitar, plug something in super quick and be able to record an idea without having a ton of setup. The third and final function is for it to be an open invitation for others. Whenever I have other people in, they can sit in this room and we can be creative together. It's an open invitation, it's non-intimidating. And if I need to record them, I can easily do so. All right, starting with the left side of the room here, we are gonna dive into guitar land. Now, the first guitar that I've got here is actually a cheap Yamaha nylon string guitar. I picked this up at an antique store. I'm not sure if it is an antique, but it is a wonderful guitar. It serves as a perfect lap guitar whenever I need to come up with song ideas. It's super simple to play, super easy to play, and it sounds pretty good. You can't play a lot of things that sound bad on this guitar. The next guitar in the lineup is my Martin acoustic. This is the Martin GPC 11E. And this is my dream acoustic guitar. Funny story about this guitar. I used to work at a spot that was probably like 5 minutes down the road from a guitar shop here in Arizona. And sometimes during my hour-long lunch break, I would drive over to that guitar shop and I would just jam out on acoustics. And while I was jamming on one of the acoustics, I fell in love with a Martin, and I couldn't afford it at the time. It was just out of my price range. But I remember snapping a picture of it and kind of promising myself that one day I would buy this guitar. About 2-3 years down the road, I ended up making the investment and buying one of these. And little did I know, it was the same model of the guitar that I was playing in that music store. So it's kind of crazy how life comes around full circle. I love this guitar. Good Martin. Next up in guitar world is my Taylor T5. This is like an acoustic electric combo. Some people aren't a big fan of the hybrid guitars, but I love the way that this sounds. I picked this up in the height of the pandemic, and this guitar means a lot to me because not only did I get a killer deal on it, but I used this guitar to propose to my wife. And so I love this guitar and I hope I never get rid of it. Good guitar. Next up, we've got the Jazzmaster Squire Jazzmaster. I love the way that this Jazzmaster sounds. I replaced the pick guard on it just because I'm not good enough to be playing with a gold pick guard. But it sounds fantastic, especially for some worship sounds. You can get some really dark kind of ambient stuff going on with it, as well as some brighter stuff that kind of comes out a little bit more in a mix. Last but not least, I've got this Mexican jazz bass. It's a Fender jazz bass that my parents actually got for me when I was about 11, and I've kept it ever since. It's an amazing piece of gear. This is the only bass that I'll play on all of the songs that I record, and I love it. It has a lot of sentimental value, and I will probably never get rid of this guy either. All right, in the corner here, I've got actually my wife's ukulele. I don't use it very often, but whenever I want the sound, it comes in handy and it sounds great. So thank you, babe, for letting me steal this and put it in my office. The next one that I've got here is this Cordoba acoustic mini bass. It's kind of a unique sound. I just wanted something that I could jam out loud with if I ever wanted to jam on the bass without having to plug in an amp, but it's here mainly just for looks. All right, next up, we're gonna be taking a look at what's on my desk. Starting off with the desk, this is actually a secondhand IKEA dining table that we got off of OfferUp. I've always opted for a larger table rather than a smaller desk, and so that's why I went with this. Up on top here, we've got this rack system that I built myself. This just houses a lot of the rack gear that I've got here, and it works perfectly for the uses that I need it for. If you've seen the What's in My Bag video, you would have seen my 2023 MacBook Pro. It's the 14-inch version, and this is the brains of the operation. This is what I use for all of my recording, all of my video editing, anything work related that I need to do is done on this laptop. I'm also running Pro Tools for all of my recording sessions. All right, for my speakers, I've got the JBL 5-inch powered monitors, as well as the 8-inch sub underneath my desk. I've got an LG ultra wide monitor, gone ultra wide, and I can never go back just because it gives you so much real estate whenever you're working on things. So it works fantastic. I've got my Furman power conditioner up top here, as well as a cheap pile switcher up top. That way I can power on different rack gear without leaving them on. The audio interface that I am using is the Focusrite Scarlett 18i20. I wanted some more inputs for a live recording session that we were working on, so I went ahead and got this Behringer, I believe it's the ADA 8200. Essentially what it is an expander, so it adds 8 more inputs through ADAT, through an optical cable. All right, for my external hardware, I've got the DBX 166A. It's a compressor slash limiter. Pro VLA II. This is a compressor. It sounds great. It's got those tube compressors in there. And I use this for everything. All right, over here, kind of tucked away, I've got an Audio Logic graphic EQ. I never use this thing. This thing's up here for eye candy. Someone had given this to me as an offer-up deal, just as a kind of freebie. But I've just got it there just because it looks kind of crazy. All right, hopping down to the bottom here, I've got my patch bay. Patch bay allows me to plug in anything that I want into whatever direction I want to plug it into. I've got my ins as well as my outs listed here. I've got any sort of external hardware or external processing that I want to route through patched in here. So I've got my DBX as well as my ART compressor. I've also got all of the line outs from the Scarlett routed here in case I want to send anything that I've already recorded back through my compressor or through anything else, through pedals, guitar pedals. I have the ability to do so. This rack I also built myself. It's got some storage on the side here, a little drawer, but this thing works great. Patch bays kind of seem like an intimidating thing, but I promise they're not. Once you understand the concept, it actually becomes a super useful thing. So I might make a video on that later. And right in front of the patch bay cabinet is my guitar pedal board. This is what I use for all of my sounds. Anything I want to experiment, I have the ability to do so here. Moving on here, I've just got a solid state Marshall here. If I want to jam something out loud, or if I've got guests coming over and they don't want to plug into the system, they just want to plug into an amp, they have the ability to do so here. All right, last but not least, and probably the least recognized thing in most studio spaces is the closet space, or what I would call storage. In my closet space here in the studio, I've got all of my guitar cases that I use whenever we're traveling. I've got the case for my pedal board in here, as well as old camera bags, old backpacks, cables that are not in use but can and will be in use. I've also got things like hardware, extra pedals, as well as wire and terminals for any custom pedal board cables that I might need to make. All right, this has been my home studio / office space. I'll put some links in the description of videos that have helped kind of inspire me to put this space together, things that have helped me that might also help you. Now, I want to leave you with this thought. I know that I kind of showed you a lot of things around my space, but I want to let you know that gear does not matter. I started writing and playing songs before I even knew what Pro Tools was, or what an audio interface was, or anything like that. It's often said that creativity is birthed from limitations. And often when we don't have limitations, that's when we start fixating on things that don't matter. When I first started recording, I started recording off of actually my brother's PreSonus 2x2 audio interface, which I actually blew one of the inputs out to somehow. Gear doesn't matter, equipment doesn't matter, but being a creative being does matter. If there's anything I can leave you with, is go out there, be creative, write songs, record things, show the world all the creativity that you've got. And if you enjoyed this video, leave it a thumbs up. If there's something in here that you would like me to speak more about, definitely let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching and have a good day.